Reconnection successful, eh? Okay, this shows that I'm back. And I'm updating the text document and kind of probably looks like nothing. Oh well. Alright, short sword. Wooden armor, gloves, cap, or rather wood helm. And the only thing Mr. No Eye could possibly want from Elfland is a copper bracelet. Yeah, it's quite funny. No Eye doesn't really get any more upgrades until some really late game stuff. I don't know if anyone gets an upgrade at Melmond. It's not much, even if it is. That document on the right just got a lot shorter, huh? Well, we are close to the Marsh Cave. This is worth fighting. Especially with our Knights of Many Hits. That's good. This is not worth fighting, but hopefully I can run. It's going to be annoying. Yeah, the running value is based on the luck stat. I don't know why they even bothered with a luck stat in this game. I am not a fan. Okay. Tent. We are going to assume we can do it. I think any time spent in here getting items to sell is ultimately going to not be worth it. I think going up is going to not be worth it compared to what I did with the Kazokus earlier. So let's just motor. Shadows have a high surprise rate, but I don't think there's anything special about how you run away from them. That said, they have like really low attack. They're not dangerous at all. The only downside being they can blind you. Oh, well, that was like nothing. What's in here? I feel like I have to look. We are not fighting these things. I hate these things. Oh, good. So this might be just for selling. Yeah, see, that's what I thought it was. That's funny. I really should have just got that earlier. Okay, and no E can go ahead and hold the short sword. That's not going to conflict with his vowel-related ethics. This fight I don't want to do. They're weak, but, you know, because of just the number of them, it's a lot of rounds. And the crawl has the stun ability that can be a bit of a minor nightmare. At least if there was more than one. I don't know. If I can't run this turn, maybe I'll just... Yeah, let's just do it. The damage really isn't that scary. It's the stun that's scary. Wow. The wizards, who are not actually wizards, but Pisco demons, I guess, or mind flayers, primitive mind flayers, proto mind flayers. They are the spiked tile that is kind of a boss in this dungeon. They hit really hard for this point in the game, and considering only one of my characters has actual good armor, it could be a bit of a bad situation. I think I'm really just looking... Oh, no. I don't like that poison. There's a Game Genie code that I'm a little bit in love with. That is, stop reordering the party every time someone's poisoned. That's funny the way that status changes to dead right when the battle ends. But I guess that's okay. I think the order was E-A-I-O. if I'm not mistaken. It sounds silly. I don't know. Yeah. And O is the one who's using a hand axe, right? Yeah. Okay. It's actually the third one down, but I don't have everything memorized. So I probably used to. I'm just kind of checking for easy to get chests. House. Hey, that's kind of cool. That's effectively $400. Might be worth it. I do not want to fight these guys. And I don't want to get poisoned. I've had enough poison. I've had enough poison for the whole game already. Holy crap, did you see that? That was a great deal of damage that I didn't deserve. You know what's gonna suck is when I use these 4 heal potions on this guy and then he gets one-shot by the wizards. The funny thing about the wizards is they're not a real boss battle, right? They're a spiked tile directly in front of this treasure chest. And they're a random encounter, essentially. It's just, it always happens. You get between 2 and 4 of them. Fighting 2 wizards is a lot easier than fighting 4, because they have good resistances, they have good defense, and they hit hard. They don't do anything special. They're called wizards. They don't actually have any magic. Anyway, I got all 4. So that is bad. This sucks, but I think piling on is the right thing to do. Getting them out one by one. Oh, 29 on my guy with good armor. I don't think we're gonna win. I mean, level 5 is... Oh. Oh. Level 5 is probably a little bit more aggressive than people would normally be. I think the Nintendo Power Guide used to say, go in at level 8. My 2 characters who are left are the ones with the worst defense. They're just getting unusually lucky. Look at this. Imagine walking no O out of here. What a tense thing that would be. Okay, yeah, this isn't happening. Okay. So because I used a tent outside the cave, we get to start from here. It's going to be a fair bit the same. But if we get 2 wizards instead of 4, you can see how that would be much, much easier. These enemies are weak, but they do have paralysis, which can be pretty gross if they sit there and just hit you for 1 damage until you die. I'm still gonna get the couple chests I grabbed. It was just a couple. Oh, you jerks. In the same thread where I was talking about the beauty of running in this game and how you actually feel like there's risk and reward, I said a thing about... That's funny, the ordering was all screwed up. I said a thing about the resource management. Wait, O is at the bottom. and the attrition through a dungeon, and how dungeon crawls, the way they're supposed to work is they use up some resources so that tension builds, and at the end of that dungeon, you know, the race to get to that MacGuffin or the boss has that tension built around it. And I was saying, it's a funny thing, but I criticize Cosmic Star Heroine a lot. Maybe not a lot. A few times on Twitter. To one of the creators. I don't remember his name. It's not... is it Boyd? Robert Boyd? I don't know. Sorry. Apologies to this nice person. His game's beautiful. The game is beautiful. There's a lot about Cosmic Star Heroine, the cutscenes, the graphics, the music. I love it. But the gameplay, I dislike. And it sounds weird, because I'm so happy someone made that game. That game that's spiritually a successor to the Phantasy Star series, and has kind of a Chrono Trigger look and feel. Like, what a great thing that is. What great games those are. But what I always say about it is... the game completely failed with regards to how an area in a role-playing game is designed to work. And innovating is great. I'm not trying to say we need to design things the same way. What am I trying to say? I should probably get to that. All of the items in Cosmic Star Heroine are once per battle. All of the abilities are, in some means, oh, hey there. Long time no talk to you, or like anyone, but yeah. All of the abilities are rechargeable, or yeah, pretty much their infinite use are rechargeable. Okay, let's see what luck we get this stupid time. I hope it's 2. We got 2. This is going to be better. I'm still going to dogpile him. And so what happens with Cosmic Star Heroine, you have this full recovery after every single battle. And I'm sure that in some kind of design philosophy, this was a great thing to do. But it's weird, because what it means is there's no difference between any random battle and the boss at the end. Effectively, they're aiming for battles to keep their interest. They'll have the same level of danger and tension around them in any given area. And it ends up that when the battles feel well designed, and a lot of them do because they're novel battles, I'm going to fight this guy because I don't think this is the one with the crazy high defense. No. But it ends up that all the battles, you realize they're the same difficulty, they're the same stakes, and there's no attrition. There's no building tension until the point where that tension is released, except through storyline. Like the game's storyline is perfectly nice. The cutscenes are beautiful. It feels good to see the game's events play out. But the battle system just there's no feeling of risk and reward between stop points. Hopefully everything I've said makes sense there. Not that I'm really talking to anyone, except now that Rue showed up. That's very nice. You come in and you say, don't let me ruin your stream, but here I am talking into the ether for the sake of what's going to end up as a seldom watched recording on YouTube. I'm happy you're here. I was talking earlier in this stream about early days of the internet and the way when you play look at this crap that's happening to me now. This is garbage. The way we used to figure things out. There we go. Wonderful. Sure. I did some thorough risk assessment to arrive at the conclusion that I should use one potion on that guy. Yeah, Stunlock City, exactly. This is one of 2 areas where you see that happen, right? And this tends to be one of those stopping points. I had another viewer? I don't know. Lurkers. I don't mind the lurkers. Who would ever mind the lurkers? What was the term we used to use back in the MIRC days? MIRC. It's funny that I even split the M there. There's a Discord? If I was made aware of that, I forgot. Did I ever join that? I don't know. Yeah, in terms of keeping in touch with that particular community, doesn't happen too much. The only person who I really have much of an eye on is Josh Sloan, because I very much enjoy his Twitter presence. He's popped in here back when I used to do this more often too. This is my first time doing this in at least 10 months, and probably I think I had like a 2-year break before that, so I'm not exactly regular on this. And when I do things like that, it's going to sound really strange because I'm playing something that my kids absolutely don't care about, but my kids are encouraging me more than anything else. They like their streamers and they want to do it, and I've just been building the shelves and desk and such for this office in this house we just moved into, and you know, they see this as kind of like, oh, this is where we're going to be able to record our videos about games. And I don't know what their goal is. They're pretty young, and I don't think they want to get famous for playing games. I can tell you though, there's a good handful of these streamers and YouTube folks who you know, they play like one game ever. And for the last 3 or 4 years, it's been pretty good to play Breath of the Wild. Well, my 9-year-old son is like intensely obsessed with Breath of the Wild. And if I were to let him loose on the world, he'd be pretty happy watching Breath of the Wild streamers 18 hours a day. And he may or may not be playing Breath of the Wild at the time. He just got back into it after a bit of a break. Anyway, that's probably all he wants to do, is play Breath of the Wild for an audience. And then we were on a drive once recently, and just to entertain us, I put on a couple of podcasts discussing Breath of the Wild, and that was all novel. Normally I put on some kind of indie music or something, but I put on Breath of the Wild podcast, and my kids were pretty darn entertained. They happened to be the one done by the Well-Read Mage, which is called Magecast, and I think there was a rebranding recently, but I think it's still Magecast, or maybe it's a second branding. And then there was who else? Hardcore Gaming 101's stream. They had an episode about Breath of the Wild, and we listened to them talk about Roller Coaster Tycoon as well, because my kids have been interested in it. An old weirdo watching. Well, my 9-year-old doesn't stream, and that's partly because I'm a little bit worried about some of the old weirdos who I don't know, you know? But he actually does have a YouTube channel, and he did one stream with me on here. That was several months ago. His YouTube channel is called WildStar Gaming, where WildStar is one word and the I is a Y. Why did I even come back here? I guess it's time for Astos. And I guess I'm not going to level up to the point where I get the mute spell. I think I can probably take Astos. Let's just do it. I'm not going to bother with the silver sword quite yet. We even got our chance to strike first on these stupid doggies. Nothing against doggies in general. I have dogs now. Yeah, sick name. He came up with it. My kids all did. They just decided their names, and I just decided to go along with it. Yeah. Yeah, my kids, I have 3 boys. They're 5, 7, and 9. And so, obviously, like, my 5-year-old and 7-year-old don't have any kind of web presence at all yet. But they talk about what it's going to be like and what their names are going to be and stuff. And they all went in very different directions. Oh, I like the way those ogres go from being so threatening to so non-threatening so quickly in this game. As soon as you hit level 5, it all changes. Like us, but with actual aspirations. We didn't have the means to do that kind of thing back then. I mean, we sort of did. I remember these conversations. I don't know what you remember about this, but like, before Squareville and our IRC presence, which was a pretty small little cluster of personalities joining us there, I would use this #square on Dalnet, right? And one of my good friends, and the person who invited me there in the first place, was the fellow who went by Sheiks. And yeah, I knew Sheiks from the Elucia BBS, which was also the first place where I met Proth and Koban the Ninja Cat. All those people were from the same place online, and then it was like Sheik saying, hey, come hang out with us on IRC, which was a new thing to me. This might go badly. This will be fun. Yeah. And then Sheik's... I remember Sheik's name and everything. I had a lot of communication with Sheik's. He was like my first real internet friend, possibly even before Proth. Oh. Maybe I should say, But then Sheik's may have sort of gone crazy or something. And maybe you remember this, maybe you don't. Sheik's started doing a lot of drugs. And he was like into Record of Lodos War. And like he wanted to like name himself after Ashram, but he thought it would be funny if he put hash in the name. So for a while, his internet nick was Hashram. And it was because he got like internet married to a girl from Square Channel. And look at the way the slow indicator shows up. Isn't that cool? Look what I did there. You know, this could be going worse. Someone's dead and someone's slow, but at least we haven't got Fire 2'd yet, is what I was going to say. Why is my damage so bad? I mean, I know that this fight always sucks, but... I didn't save right before it either. I saved back in Elfland. Oh, we're done. Oh, we're super done. Yeah. Sheik's had quite a little story. This actually isn't a mod or hack. This is a bizarre thing. This is a novelty play with some minor cheats to make these people into knights at the start of the game. And a Lua script running over top of it that's changing the in-battle user interface. The sidebar on the right, essentially, is generated from Lua. And so it updates every frame, and it just literally, it's drawing boxes on the screen. Yeah, I probably should be using BizHawk, but for some reason I chose FCEUX, which I used a few years ago and was happy with, but I don't like this version of it. I haven't used BizHawk before. I know I was really interested in the task community a good few years ago, and FCEUX was their jam for ages, and then they started to move to BizHawk, and I never made that move because I stopped being so immersed in the task community. Yeah, I never really used BizHawk. Anyway, there was some reason I was talking about Sheiks / Hashram. Uh, Crazy internet friends. Yeah, I think she might still be on my Facebook account. Someone said something to me a couple months ago that was like, "Hey, it's International Log Out of Facebook Day." I was like, "Yeah, okay." And so I logged out of Facebook on whatever arbitrary day in September or October that was. And then I realized, oh crap, I've gained a bunch more time and I've drained a lot of negativity from my life. I'm just not going to log back into that. And I think that I have not regretted that decision for a moment. You know, Sheiks makes me scared that he's actually Craig. It doesn't sound so bizarre. Internet people, maybe present company accepted, a lot of them are... It really gives you a picture of society, the way we've come to know that some of our neighbors are just completely backwards in the last few years. It's that. These internet people, these internet friends from the early days, they're weird. There are weird people. Craig himself started messaging me on Facebook probably about a year ago, but was really like mysterious about it and had a complete alternate identity. And the way he introduced himself to me, look at that, rub miss, that was cool. He was really trying to get me to say something, and it made me think of this time. One time I was being scam baited by email, because that happens, right? And the person started the email by saying, "Oh, here's your password," and it was a password that I hadn't used for anything significant ever and hadn't used in a few years. And it was like, okay, so you got some old password from the Adobe leak or whatever. What are we doing here? So when Craig comes back to me and he uses one of those old internet names that I was using back in the mid-90s, like you came in here and said Genji boy. That's funny. It wasn't that though. But it was just like, why would you start there? Why wouldn't you say, "Oh, hi, I'm Craig"? Why don't you start with the way you start a conversation? And that's not the only person. There's these people. I was vague friends, but thankfully not Facebook connections with this person who I met via Game FAQs, who started changing accounts. And at one point they changed account with like a really well-known, long-held Game FAQs account. And they said they like bought it off them because they didn't want it anymore. There's people who will buy an account to have karma on an arbitrary website where the karma doesn't serve any purpose. This matter of being able to float between identities for no apparent purpose is for some reason desirable to people. And that itself maybe isn't wrong. I guess you could think of it as some kind of allegory for acting or drama in that sense or another. But like, oh wow, look at all these status effects. They're cool looking, but unfortunate. Are we gonna hang in there, guys? Anyway, it's just, I don't know, the kind of people who have this sort of time, that's part of, oh shit. That's part of what mystifies me, is someone who says, with the hours I have in this week, I'm going to get someone else's account and start posting on a conflicting message, an opinion that conflicts with myself on this message board full of adults based around a 30-year-old video game because that's who I want to share my backwards opinions with. Ugh. Traveling protester. That's annoying. I don't know. And you know, that's the other strange thing about old internet friends. The ones who end up being, oh, I didn't heal at all. That was a mistake. Let's get out of here, no E and no A. Do you think we can? Oh, that was close. That was super close. I probably have a lot of those zip files. I don't remember that conversation, frankly, but no, I'm not too disturbed by you. The other neat thing about the internet friends is when you see people, and this happens with real friends too. In fact, it probably happens with in-person, you know, people who I knew in high school, even more than internet friends. Although I'm one of those people who was like the early adopters of internet friends. I considered my internet friends, yourself included, to be real friends. That was just, you know, back then I couldn't talk to my mom that way. To my mom, that was a different world. But I read a book on this subject recently. In fact, I'm still reading that book. I just haven't read it recently. It's called Because Internet. And it's a book about linguistics and how they've been affected by pervasive internet. It's really neat. It's something you would like. It's by Gretchen McCullough. Anyway, there's a whole chapter in there about internet friends and old internet people. But the neat thing, as I was getting to, or trying to get to, was just that feeling when you see someone who you haven't communicated with to any significant extent in, say, hey, I can afford the silver sword. I'm going to do it. Say you haven't talked to them in 15 years, 20 years. Some of them it's 20 years now, people who I knew in high school. I guess I'm kind of old. Silver sword, who gets this? No A. I can also buy that copper bracelet, I guess. I may as well. But when you see someone who you knew in high school or on the internet 20 years ago, and you find out that, wow, they've turned out to be like a really neat, normal person. They're saying things that, like, they think that, like, black people are real people. That's so cool. I'm so glad that the people who I knew 20 years ago are willing to say that maybe we shouldn't kill black people. That I feel like I shouldn't have to think that, but I do. What a great thing that is. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Oh, man. Okay, this is going to be a refreshing change. Oops, not that refreshing. Okay. Silver sword's on. I got the copper bracelet for I. It's a super minor upgrade, but I may as well do it. I wonder what stuff I can walk around and get from chests now. Probably a fair bit. You know, I can go on the whole Mystic Key fetch quest, right? We got the crown, we got the crystal. We can go to Matoya. Oh, I didn't heal those guys. That was probably a mistake. I don't know if it's better to run or fight, frankly. Maybe I'll fight. No! Oh, that was stupid. I don't think I even have the money to revive him. Maybe I'll win it here. What a klutz I am. Indie game maker. Yeah, I think I knew that. Not that I'm stocky, but I remember some kind of post about the Hamster Republic still or something. Not that long ago. Married, 2 cats, Python programmer, Scrum Master for a legal company. Neat, okay. Looking to buy a house. That's challenging right now, at least where I live. Our house that we'd been living in for about 8 years did a move where it increased by value through those 8 years by 2.5 times. And we sold it to buy this house that also jumped in value a crazy amount. So we still end up with a bit of a stupid mortgage. But we have a pretty nice house, and we're in a little more rural now. We're a little more out on our own. I got this newly finished basement, and I don't know. It's pretty nice overall. I don't think I have much to complain about. I'm teaching Python a lot of the time. Very, very basic Python. I teach first semester students Python. Here's an if statement, that kind of thing. Why did I come here? I want to go to Matoya. Well, you know, the more advanced Python gets, the more it is just digging through the documentation of different libraries, right? That's what advanced Python is. Yeah, it's funny. The Lua that I'm running in this thing, I wrote it probably 4 or maybe 5 years ago, and I haven't really looked at it. And I looked at it today, around the time I started, and I was like, what the hell is this? You know, it didn't take me long to understand, to reacquaint myself with the structures of Lua, but it was also like, although I took some care with the naming conventions and whatnot, it was incredibly poorly documented and just badly structured in general. There were some parts where I did some, I think, pretty sloppy indenting, and just, it's everything I tell my students not to do. Hopefully they haven't found me and started watching this crap. Yeah, I like teaching basic programming. My 2 main things I teach in programming, there's some other stuff I teach, but the 2 main things I teach are Python at a very, very basic level, and C#, .NET, mostly for desktop applications. For the past few years, we've also been touching ASP, but we're probably getting rid of that from our particular program. Some people love ASP. I don't know. Sometimes ASP really impresses me, but that's maybe just because my expectations are low. I have a guy on our team who insists everything must be huge lambda functions. Yeah, I don't even get into that. The only thing I really used lambdas for was making user interfaces with Python and using them for some of the bindings. It was using Tkinter. And it's funny because they're first year students, right? So we try to keep things simple for them. And so when we say, let's experiment with a user interface and talk about accessibility practices and whatnot, we use Tkinter. And the reason we use Tkinter is because it's included with the Python installs. But Tkinter is... I don't know how unpopular this opinion is. Tkinter is awful. I think that's probably a fairly popular opinion. Tkinter's pretty awful. And I don't like using lambda expressions even in that context. Yeah, it's there. It's there is exactly right. What I don't want to do is have a bunch of first-year students, you know, digging through tons of complex libraries and having to find the right ones. I mostly try to get them all using the same IDE, even though there's like, you know, 8 different mainstream Python IDEs that are well adopted, popular, full-featured. I don't want everyone doing their own thing for the most part in courses like that. And it's because when it's basic programming, you can teach someone, here's how you write an if statement, but what we really want to teach them is, here's some good practices, you know? Here's why you might write this way instead of this way. Here's why naming conventions can matter. Here's why documentation can matter. At least that's the way we do it. And then when I write my Lua scripts for whatever I'm writing for a 30-year-old game, it looks like garbage. Sublime Text. I've mostly been using VS Code. I had one student who very much insisted on Spider, and what's really funny about it, and I told them this, there were some things that were behaving differently in Spider, and it turned out it was changed in like Spider version 5, and he was using Spider version 3.8 something. And he like, it was related to our user interface unit. He couldn't get sys.exit to work or something like that. It just wouldn't work in Spider. And I told him, like, go run it in idle, and you'll see it works. It's there. And for some reason, that student completely refused to upgrade from Spider 3.8. And just, you know how he chose to end his program was he ran an infinite loop. And that's not a joke or anything. He just, he made his exit function call his exit function, and it would Stack Overflow. And he was like, look, it's a successful exit button. It closes the whole application. It was funny. And I mean, that's a little bit silly, but he was actually a pretty good student. Yeah, he was. Silver Hammer. Could technically be used by no O, I guess. Is it better? Damage 28, hit 30. Damage 24, hit 30. Okay, so we don't want the Silver Hammer. Copper Gauntlet can be used by no eye. Cool. I didn't expect to get anything useful here. I don't want to fight all these stupid wolves. Get out of here. Yeah. I can get the Caneria chests and the Dwarf Cave chests. And I can get the Rune Sword and Were Sword. Rune Sword can be used by no A and no I. That could be useful. Were Sword can also be used by no A and no I. That might... Well, no A has the Silver Sword, but one of those two, I guess the Rune Sword, would be really useful for no I. No, you. But it specifically says, and you. You is me. You is referring to me. I'm the fifth Voweless warrior. Ironically, I'm using an Ouya controller. It does contain most of these vowels, including you. It's just what I found. I'm not going to excuse this. Okay, I need to go to the castle. The castle actually has a couple other items, including, I think, a silver gauntlet. Silver gauntlet can be used by no O, and that's it. I think there's a silver gauntlet here. Sometimes Y. I wonder how I would implement sometimes Y. There aren't a lot of pieces of equipment with a Y in them, but sometimes, right? So, like, maybe if there was a 50-50 chance of all of them being banned or something, I don't know. There's not very much in this game that has a Y in it. Silver Dagger. No O can hold that, but I don't think it's useful. Sabre. Could be useful for no eye? No, it's not useful for anyone. It's worse than a short sword. Iron Staff could be for no E. I keep accidentally opening that. That's not going to be useful. That's for selling. TNT. No vowels. Iron Shield can be used by no A. Oh, he already has one. Okay, gotta drop that. Iron Armor. Okay. There was no Silver Gauntlet. Yeah, I want to get the Rune and Wear Swords. Those will be good. It's funny how I feel much more, like, powerful, and yet I've still got one party member who's literally wearing nothing but a hat. He might be cold. Fun fact, that move I just did, moving O to the bottom, does nothing. The bottom 2 slots in the party order actually have the exact same chance of being targeted by enemies. So the only reason I did it is because of my own neuroses. And I do that in like every game. I always put the person with the most hit points at the top, no matter what game it is. I was playing Saga Frontier. Maybe it does matter in Saga Frontier because the leader usually ends up in the middle. I was looking at Saga Frontier recently because they found this really cool glitch in the remaster, a beneficial bug in the remaster, but I think it only matters for PC. Any platform that supports a mouse. And I tried it because I have the Saga Frontier remaster I have on my Switch. And so I tried it on the Switch. They said it might be possible on the Switch by using touch controls. But in fact, the touch controls on the Switch version of Saga Frontier Remaster do nothing, unfortunately. There is no touch control. I figured I should fight these zombies, but zombies are pitiful in this game, and they're probably not going to give me much in the way of reward. Could be worse. So yeah, the glitch in Saga Frontier is a thing where sometimes certain equipment slots are locked, and sometimes certain abilities are locked. I'm a pretty good wizard in a lot of these older Final Fantasies. I still remember more or less everything about Final Fantasy VI. In fact, I probably do know 6 better than this one. Anyway, the thing with Saga Frontier, yeah. They've discovered if you select an item using a mouse, and this is why they thought it might work with a touch screen. If you select an item with a mouse and then push up or down or left or right, you can move it by 1 slot, even if it's something that's completely locked. Oh, no A is the guy with the silver sword. I got mixed up. Well, this ended up going well anyway. The gargoyles can actually be a little bit dangerous. No, I haven't played Final Fantasy VI Edition, but I did see recently that Tomato translated it. I look forward to playing that at some point, for sure. I don't know if it'll necessarily be the best FF6 hack ever, because there are some doozies. 2830 is what I'm seeing there. And this one is 3040. Okay, so that was a substantial upgrade for Mr. No-O. Best I've ever played, not counting rando. Randos are awfully fun. Yes. Final Fantasy VI, I loved the most well-known General Leo hack, which is by the same guy who did a Final Fantasy IV Golbez version hack, which was actually surprisingly good. And he updated it a few times too. I really enjoyed that. It was not a big change, but it was neat. The event hacking was neat. It was simple. In terms of more elaborate Final Fantasy VI hacks, probably the best I've played any significant amount is Brave New World. Back when I was doing this streaming thing a little more regularly, I did a playthrough of Final Fantasy VI using the classic rules, where at any point I would always have one character who was the knight, one who was the thief, one who was the white mage, and one who was the black mage. And I did some partial hacks and some partial play variants to get this to work. My chair just rolled in an unexpected way, and I ended up far away. That was weird. And it was funny because I was playing that, and I was limiting which characters could use which espers, because I wanted all the espers to be used by the white mage and the black mage, and I limited the way they could, teach certain spells to fit that paradigm. And BTB showed up in my stream and started asking me about it. And BTB is one of the two lead co-developers of the Brave New World hack. Brave New World, the big thing that it did, the cornerstone of the Brave New World hack is limit which characters can use which espers. And what that does is it gives them a targeted form of spellcasting that is geared towards either their attributes or play style, or in some cases personality. And it also means that their stat growth ends up limited by which espers they can equip. And so it gives you kind of like better defined builds for each character in a way that's very cool. Last version of that I played was quite a while ago. Oh, you know all about it, so what am I talking about? Yeah, and speaking of relic that turns Terra's morph into shock, what one of them had a thing where... Was it Brave New World? Celis had an item that turned Runic into shock, I think? Imperial Seal or something like that? I don't know. That sounds familiar to me. That must be a thing in some hack I've played. Oh, revenge. These guys killed me in the early game. Which is pathetic. Really, they killed me by helping to stun me while the Sahags beat the crap out of me. Because these guys aren't even capable of attacking. They just literally paralyze you every turn. They have a 0% chance of using a physical attack. And they have 10 hit points, like they're pathetic. But when they are combined with other monsters, they can be annoying. FF6T has a relic for Celis, turns Runic into Banon's health. Yeah, okay. Yeah, when I made my Final Fantasy VI Classic version hack, all the white mages had Prey that cast... It was Banon's health, but retooled to cast Cure 1. So they could cast Cure 1 for free, essentially. Which then made the Cure spell kind of stupid. The only real benefit, I guess, it would bring is, like, casting it on enemy undead. Or single targeting it. So you know what? Maybe it wasn't that stupid. Maybe I did something smart and I should take credit for it. Free money. Is there other free money in here? I don't remember. No, I don't think so. Okay. Well, there's the big treasure room. Check out the Discord. Pretty quiet. Josh, Frank. Yeah, I remember Frank. My favorite thing about Frank, and I didn't get to know Frank that well in all that time, but my favorite thing I remember hearing from him is when he told me, and I'm remembering this specifically because I watched The Price is Right for the first time in a long time the other day, for the first time in ages. I remember the time he told me I learned English by watching The Price is Right. And he says, just think about it. They go, it's a car, and then there's a car. Iron helmet. Okay, you are the only one who can use an iron helmet. Alright. Yeah, I just remember finding that really funny. Oh, that sounds like a nice thread. Okay. I like Kane too. I used to see his crap on Facebook. I mean, I like all these people. Oh, Dragon Sword. That's usable by no E. And no I. I will give it to no E because they're a little more survivable. Another silver dagger. Another wooden helmet. Can't do anything with that. I mean, I could sell it, but it's worth a pitiful amount, so. Goon's still a musician. Silver armor. I-E. I think that Mr. A can use... Oh, no they can't. Nobody can use silver armor, can they? No. That's waste. Oops. It turns out I don't know my frickin' letters. I'll pop in your stream. Oh yeah, okay. Well, I'm probably gonna book it too. Like, it's late for me. I'm gonna get out of here. I think you're on Central Time. Well, you probably have moved since I knew where you were. Anyway, yeah, I think I'll duck out of here imminently. So don't worry about it. But sometime, yeah, I'll connect up in there. Oh, you're way out there. Okay, so it's not even late for you. All right. Okay. Yeah, nice talking to you. See you. It's a funny thing, these streams, because like I don't exactly promote them, and it happens that usually I get people like this who I just haven't connected with in ages, and I get one visitor popping in and just having a little talk with them, and yeah, it's neat. So silver bracelet, I guess I'll probably be able to afford it. Yeah. Silver bracelet's going to be a pretty big upgrade for no O. And I can technically get to Crescent Lake now. I think I'd rather just buy the silver bracelet than go through the heck that is the basement of the Marsh Cave. I don't know. I'll reevaluate. I'm going to be done for now, so I'm going to save up. You know, it's funny. There's no weapons store in Belmont. Got all these weapons. Oh, there is a weapons store. Okay. I should have done this before saving. Where sword? Okay. Long sword is usable by everybody, right? So yeah, I think I'll do that. Feels weird buying a long sword. Not often you use those. Someone can technically use the steel armor, but I don't know if I want to do that. Copper gauntlet is has one. Iron gauntlet is nobody. Oh no, it can be used by E. E guy. Cool. Iron helmet can be used by A. Does A already have one? Yep. Silver bracelet can be used by O. And that is the first piece of armor O really gets, frankly. Big difference. O is now the second most defensively capable. I'm gonna go save again. Okay. That is it for today. What's next? Should I run to Crescent Lake? I think I should run to Crescent Lake. Because I think the Earth Cave would suck right now. But consider, like the levels and stuff are really good. Make sure we haven't, you know, broken any rules here. But I think we're good. I might even be past the hardest part of this run, but who knows? I'll be done for now. This isn't going to take way too much longer, frankly. Alright, and I'll update that sidebar. Alright, I'll play again sometime soon. This is fun. Thanks for joining me.